Hi everyone, I'm Erin Dugan from Fox 56 Sports and welcome to week 4 of high school football here on MyTV WQMY. Tonight it's a crossover matchup between two of the best in the Wyoming Valley Conference and the Lackawanna Football Conference. Lake Lehman is off to their best start in over a decade. The Black Knights have a potent running attack that averages over 368 yards per game and is led by one of the best centers in the nation, Connor McGovern, who's headed to Penn State next year. In the meantime, Old Forge continues to roll. The Blue Devils have never lost to Lake Lehman in 5 games. In fact, Old Forge has not lost to a team from the Wyoming Valley Conference in over 13 games in 3 seasons. Coming up at halftime, I'll be back to preview next Thursday's game and let you know Saturday's schedule on MyTV WQMY. Now let's get you out to this week's game with Bob, John, and Amanda.
Lake Lehman has rolled through the first 3 games. The Black Knights know that these games will get harder starting tonight.
So in the next few weeks, we're going to have a little bit more of a competition upcoming, especially Old Forge down the road, and Myers, and especially with the first half. So we know we have to prepare for those teams.
Old Forge looks like they may be headed for another playoff spot. After being tested the first 3 weeks, the Blue Devils know this is just another game.
Big test coming up with Lake Lehman, then you got a big test coming up with Riverside, so there can be no hangovers. You know, there could be no letdowns week to week. So, and then you roll into your division schedule where everybody knows what you do anyway.
It's Lake Lehman and Old Forge. Next.
6'5" and all, he's going to reach for his arm. He gets in, one guy to score, switches hands, and see you later. He is hit.
Fox 56 Sports presents the rivalry of the week on MyTV WQMY.
This is Veterans Memorial Stadium in the pizza capital of the world, Old Forge, Pennsylvania, where tonight 2 of the top teams in the state meet in a crossover matchup. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Ide. We'll be joined on the sidelines tonight by Amanda Cool, and in the booth, my partner once again from the Fox 56 Sports Show, John Mandola. And John, let's talk about the Black Knights first. Have dominated people on the ground this year, rushing for over 330 yards per game. One of the guys doing his job is Joey Vigil.
Well, Joey Vigil, 7 touchdowns this year. Vigil's got a great offensive line, as you mentioned, in front of him. And these guys could just explode off the ball. We'll see if Vigil's able to get some open space. Going to need to put the ball in the end zone a couple times tonight for the Lake Lehman Black Knights.
The Blue Devils, again, 3-0. They've had a tougher schedule than Lake Lehman. And Joey Gutowski, a 2-year starting quarterback. He's doing a great job.
I think both coaches would agree he's the best athlete on the field. He can make things happen with his arm, with his legs. Punt return, kick return, does a little bit of everything. Very, very dynamic athlete, and he's shown it this year for the Blue Devils, and it's his senior year. He's ready to go.
We have lucked out with the weather in September so far, and it looks like it will continue tonight. Let's head over now to meteorologist Josh Odell from the Fox 56 News, first at 10.
All right, thank you, Bob. We have some chilly weather, but at least it will be dry for this evening's game. Lake Lehman here at Old Forge Veterans Memorial Stadium. Mid-60s as this game is getting started, but when this game starts to wrap up, it'll probably be closer to about 62 or maybe even 61 degrees. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you soon. Bob, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Josh. We are all set. Both teams are warmed up. It's Lake Lehman and Old Forge will have the kickoff and the starting lineups out of the way.
This is a Fox 56 Sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
The Black Knights of Lake Lehman have made their way from Luzerne County. They'll take on the home team from Old Forge. It's their first home game of the season, believe it or not. Welcome back, everyone, live to Veterans Memorial Stadium in Old Forge as we get you set for this game between 2 undefeated teams. Third member of our crew tonight is Amanda Cool, and she has more on this matchup, which has been one-sided so far. Amanda?
These 2 teams have played the last 5 years with Old Forge coming out on top every single time. Last year, the Blue Devils defeated the Black Knights 33-0. This year might be the year that Lake Lehman has enough size and strength on the line to finally take down Old Forge. Both of these teams are 3-0 coming into tonight. And, you know, no matter what the outcome is, you can expect expect to see both of these teams in the running for both Division and District 2 titles at the end of the season. But for right now, it's the battle of the unbeaten. Bob, John, back to you.
That's exactly right, Amanda. We could see these teams playing for their respective championships at the end of the year, so it's a good test tonight. Old Forge has played mostly AA teams this year. On the other side, maybe a little bit easier schedule for Lake Lehman, just one win from the teams that they have played this year. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Well, Old Forge electing to receive tonight. Jerry Gilski saying, hey, they usually defer. So I think Old Forge is thinking, let's go down and score early.
Taken by an up man for Old Forge. That is Mandel Salavanti, and he gives Old Forge great field position to begin the game at their own 44. So here's the Northwoods Nissans. Old Forge starting lineup: Cooper Califano, leading rusher a year ago, leading the team right now with 217 yards. Receivers: Paul Cariotti has 2 catches. He's also the backup quarterback. Up front, they are big, maybe not as big as Lake Lehman. Christian Mitchell is going to be tested inside up front. He is a senior. He's going to go against Penn State recruit Connor McGovern. So, John, mostly a ground attack tonight from both teams. I would think if someone can throw the ball just a little bit, that might be the difference.
Yeah, Old Forge has that advantage with the quarterback being out for Lake Lehman.
They'll go to the air, right to Califano on a screen. Califano breaks through. Sheds 2 tackles inside Lake Lehman territory. A big gain all the way to the 27-yard line.
Well, if you want to beat Old Forge, you can't make mistakes, and right off the bat, Lake Lehman makes them. Everybody upfield on that defensive line was coming forward, and of course a missed tackle right there, and then it's just explosion time, and even downfield a little bit. Califano, you better wrap him up.
37-yard gain, first play of scrimmage for the Blue Devils. Two men shifting, but they set. Califano, little toss. Sheds 1 tackle in the backfield from Hummel, but can't get away from the rest of the linebackers.
2 biggest guys on the team take them down. They're not going to miss too often. But here you see it, a little motion over there, and hanging out is McGovern, getting a little help from Uri.
Brooker in there as well.
Brooker, that is.
Yes. I formation. A little quick handoff to the fullback. That is Mozaleski, a big gainer, to the 11.
Old Forge had a game plan coming in. We want the ball. We want to score. Remember that old cheer from 50 years ago? And it's working so far as they're just a little quick trap. They trap the tackle straight up the middle before Uri takes him down.
15 yards for him. Out to Mozaleski, touchdown Old Forge early in the game, and it took 4 plays. An 11-yard touchdown, and it took very little time. Boy, reminiscent of last year already.
Well, Maz is a nasty football player. He loves to hit. Somebody put their head down, and Mozaleski waltzes into the end zone.
Well, what are you thinking now if you're a Black Knight fan? 33-0 last year. You lost this game, and now you're less than 2 minutes in, and you could be down 7. Horn on, extra point, good, and Old Forge takes the early 7-0 lead over Lake Lehman, and it didn't take that long, John, as we go to break.
Right up in the flat goes Old Forge to score it. They went up the middle. They did it all. They lead by a touchdown. Ravello's Pizza now open in Kingston, 165 Union Street, and located in downtown Old Forge for nearly 50 years. Ravello's Old Forge Pizza.
John took just over 90 seconds, 4 plays, 56 yards. Boy, what a way to start for Old Forge.
They look like a well-oiled machine in that first home game of the year here for the Blue Devils. Feeling pretty good. Hey, Lake Lehman's going to have to respond. I could say they want to beat them, but they've got to do it on the field. No talking here.
Obviously, Mike Schubeck knew what he was doing when he took the ball, as you mentioned before. So Lake Lehman has a chance. They're going to fake the reverse. That's Borger, and he's off to the races. Downfield goes the sophomore. Horn can't get him. Touchdown, Lake Lehman. 14 seconds later, Lehman responds.
We thought Old Forge was quick. Woo!
It was number Nick Urey, not number 11. Couldn't see from this side. Nick Urey takes it. Here you go, John. Look at it again.
Well, Nick Urey stepped in last year when V-Hill was hurt, and Urey, a little fake me over there, and then he's down the sidelines, off to the races. Horn is a little banged up, and Horn just didn't have enough to get down, and Nick Urey for the score me.
Well, that's a way to respond if you're Lake Lehman right off of the opposing kickoff. And again, special teams hurts Old Forge. Tonight it's on a kickoff. Kick is good by Dawsey, and Lake Lehman ties it up. 15 seconds later, we're tied at 7 here at Old Forge.
Nick Urey getting some blocks over here. A couple of guys saying, I don't want to hit you. Urey breaks that one tackle there and gets a block downfield. Nick Urey to the end zone.
We're going to go with 84 yards on that kickoff, and Lake Lehman came to play tonight. Now we have ourselves a ball game, and there are the Black Knights, and they beat Lackawanna Trail in their first game 31-7, Mid-Valley 34-7, and then last week a rout over Holy Redeemer 42-7, and they've done it mostly on the ground, but that's a big pick-me-up on special teams.
Absolutely. You know, you start to get down when your quarterback's out. You know, you get a guy like Nick Urey that hopefully excites you or electrifies your team a little bit, and they'll have Joey Vigil involved as well. Old Forge, though, looked awfully good in that first offensive set. Why not a shootout?
Well, that's one of our keys to the game for Old Forge. Can't give up the big plays. Mostly it's on offense. They've been scoring, but that time on special teams, and that's a big one right there.
Yeah, limit the big plays. Lakeland able to hang in there against Old Forge this year. Here's a big play right now.
Zaleski, he's got room. He breaks it down. He's in Lehman territory. They'll mark it inside the 40-yard line at the 38.
Well, don't kick it deep. Kick it to Mazaleski. You know, watch him do some work. Here he is, exploding through there. And he finally, it's driven out.
That's the kicker, Dawsey, who was one of the last guys, and good field position for the Blue Devils inside Lehman territory. Last time, let's say 30 seconds ago on the game clock, it took them 4 plays to take it in. Let's see if they can match that right now.
This just adds to all the social media. Every time a team scores, you know, a couple more million tweets go out, I guess.
Well, if people are watching this via Twitter, they're going to be wondering what's going on. Califano's first run, and there's that Lehman defense. Bruker comes in. There's Urey banged up a little bit. He's on his knees. Nick Urey, number 10. Hey, look, he got a little bell ringer there.
Might have got kicked in the eye or something where he got a shot right to the face. So
here's that Lehman defense. The Northwoods Nissan starting lineup for Lehman. Connor McGovern, Penn State recruit for a center, but watch him on defense, 6'5", 310 pounds. Very active behind the line of scrimmage. Luke Hummel, 82 tackles a year ago for the Black Knights. And in the secondary, Noah Korski, your safety, will be roaming around. He is a junior.
Well, Hummel with those 82 tackles is going to be challenged tonight because Old Forge has strong backs. You have to wrap them. You know, point of contact, make sure you're wrapping up and getting some friends in there to help you out as well.
So here is Gutowski in the shotgun. 18 of 19 on the year. Been very good. Screen to the right, and they read that pretty easily, does Lehman. Couldn't get the block he wanted. Loss of 2. Jerry Hobbs caught that for Old Forge.
So a quick little screen out here to the right-hand side, hoping to get a block. Vigil got a shoulder, but then it was his buddies who ended up cleaning up, including Jake Tomalonis, the junior.
Kotowski trips to the left, looking that way. Someone breaks free, and that is Hobbs, and it goes in and out of his hands. So 4th down on the way.
Kotowski's looking out to the flat here. Sees it kind of quickly. Ball floats on him just a hair, but it is receiver's hands. Got to catch that one.
We talked so much about Old Forge running the ball. They can pass it around as well. Balanced this year. So Jared Horn comes in to do the punting. And we have our first flag of the evening, and Marty Boyer, our referee tonight, will make the call.
Sideline warning on Old Forge.
So there's a warning for the sidelines, and if you are familiar with the Old Forge sidelines, there may be 5 feet from the fence out to the field. So everyone's squished in there. It's kind of a different look on special teams. Trips to the left. He'll try to punt it that way, and he does. Takes a big roll. Can Old Forge get there? They can. Flag comes in late. They're going to mark it at the 1. And won't be a touchback. They're going to mark it right there, John. Good job on special teams from the punt team. We do have a flag down. So we're waiting for the call here, as right now the ball is at the 1. That's where Lake Lehman may take over.
Block in the back on the receiving team. Block in the back, Lake Lehman. Guys, you want to take that back, right?
It's a half the distance to the 1 yard line, so you're at the half yard line if you're Lake Lehman to begin your first offensive possession of the evening.
Well, difference between being at the 20 back to the 10. You know, if the ball does go through the end zone, now you're at the half-yard line. But Lehman's got maybe they could go for their longest play from scrimmage.
That's right. So Nate O'Donnell, the sophomore, is in at quarterback. He replaces Ferrari, who got hurt a couple games ago. They'll leave him out tonight. And they'll hand it inside power game. Huge push from the line from Lake Lehman out past the 10. That's big Luke Hummel, the fullback.
Here you see it. McGovern gets through, gets a hat on Mazaleski, takes him to the ground and blocks somebody else. And he's talked this year. He is 100-plus pancakes. I mean, you get a couple guys back in the day. Yeah, I had a pancake on that play. I mean, he's got 100-plus.
Wow. Here's another play from scrimmage to Hummel. And this is what Lake Lehman's going to do. Just power football down the field. They may spread it out. Here's the Northwoods Nissan starting lineup for the Lake Lehman offense. There we saw Yuri on special teams. He does a nice job from his wingback, running back position. 3 touchdowns this year, 305 yards. Receivers, they get a bone once in a while. Bruker doesn't have a pass this year, but he's a big tight end at 6'5". He does mostly blocking. And the offensive line, big, strong. Traver, 260 on the right tackle. McGovern in the middle. Another flag down. And this may be the biggest offensive line that Old Forge sees all year, let alone in the first 4 weeks, John.
False start offense, 5 yards, still first down.
And not only do they have Coach Gilski, who coaches the line and coaches his team, but you bring in John Sentak, who was a stud at Bloomsburg University. He knows a couple things. Scott Fertile has some experience. So they have a group of guys that really help make that line even better.
So the Knights now about 13. Vigil going nowhere. Good tackling in there from Gutowski.
That's Mondo. That's what they call him. Mondo Salavanti, 5'10", 200-pound senior. Everywhere on the football field.
He already has 8 tackles for a loss. Now they're there. So second down on the way. They're at the looks like about the 8-yard line. Second back through. Can go nowhere. That is Borger, the sophomore. He's tripped up. 3rd and long for Lake Lehman.
Well, they're bringing the heat. And Coach Gilski felt that they were going to do that. Mazaleski gets in the backfield and stirs some stuff up.
Typically, this is a passing play. I think if you're the Black Knights, you most likely won't see that. And if it is, it's just something short. 2 tight end set. Inside handoff. Borger's got running room. This is what Lehman does. Borger to the races. Gutowski gets him. But not after a huge game. Lehman down at the Old Forge, 47-yard line.
You know it's coming at some point, and they run it every couple series, and it goes for good yardage.
From the 7-yard line into Old Forge territory.
Here it is. The block back on the D tackle, and Borger on the reverse. And he's taking it down and can't get past Gutowski. And Joey Gutowski, just that kind of athlete that'll chase somebody down, but a huge gain into Blue Devils territory.
50-yard gain on that, and that's a big play Old Forge did not want to see. Here the reverse to Vigil. He can get the silent. He has good speed. He gets it. He picks up good yardage to the 40-yard line. Gutowski on the stop.
Well, Nate O'Donnell, you know, he's got something on him tonight. He's just a sophomore, being able to make sure he makes every handoff, makes some fakes. And he did a good job, I thought, on that one. And, you know, quick handoffs, making sure you follow through on your fakes and get the defense to think other things.
Now Lake Lehman can spread it out a little bit, John, and try to get outside instead of going inside. Somebody moved right off the bat. Heard something. So that will go against Lehman. Couple penalties so far on them. And that's plagued them a little bit early on in the season.
Prior to the snap. False start on the offense. Still 2.
That one stings when it's about 2nd and 4 for you, and you're already in the Blue Devil territory. You have an opportunity to possibly get towards a go-ahead score. You don't want to make those mental mistakes.
Second man through is Borger. He's stopped quickly. Stood up by Jared Horn. 3rd down on the way, right at the 44-yard line.
Let's give him a yard gain on the play. Brings up a 3rd down and a long 7.
McGovern gets out on Salavanti. You see a fullback block from Hummel. But a couple other guys get in there and do the job.
Defense playing well this year for Old Forge. Give up 257 yards per game. On the ground, 179. And don't be deceived by the 25 point per game average. They played some very good teams. First throw of the night is no good, and there you saw one of our keys to the game, and we've seen it early on. Control the line of scrimmage if you're Lake Lehman, and they have on this drive.
Yeah, able to. Just the mental mistakes got Lehman on this one, and O'Donnell just threw it a little too far. At least nobody got it on that one. So, you know, every once in a while you're going to have to throw a pass to keep them honest. Try going up top. Had a couple verticals going downfield, but nothing doing on that.
So they'll be in the punt. Dawsey, late man arriving. Back to receives Gutowski. This is off the side of his foot, goes into the stands. I've never seen that before in my life. Ball right into the stands. Let's see where they're going to mark it. And they come up to the 26-yard line, and that's where the Blue Devils will take over on downs. So 3:40 left in the first quarter. We saw a couple big plays, big drive early on by Old Forge. Return after that for Lake Lehman on the kickoff. And now we get settled into things here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Blue Devils this year beat GAR, a very good team, 44-32. Lakeland 27-24. And then put one on Hanover last week, 53-20. Now in the two games early on, GAR and Lakeland, Blue Devils actually trailed in those games. So they have been tested early on in the season. There's Califano met right at the line of scrimmage. And that is Connor McGovern. And as we take a look at the impact players, we're going to notice two guys we just talked about, John, in there. We've seen already tonight Califano, Mozaleski make their presence known, but McGovern was right in there, the big tackle.
Yep, Connor McGovern, he's a big figure, and of course he's going to be at Penn State University come January. So they're looking forward to seeing him. But Califano and Mozaleski, they can play on the high school level, see what they could do against number 60 tonight.
Califano again finding no room to run. Yard gain up to the 28. Third down coming.
Maybe let's give him 2 on the play, and it'll be 3rd and 8.
Well, here you see Old Forge trying to run over on that left-hand side, and a couple of Malachi crunchers over there just cutting them in half, and eventually taken down as that Lake Lehman defense going to try to be stingy after that first drive from the Old Forge Blue Devils.
See Connor McGovern out there. He looks like the Green Giant out there compared to everybody else, even compared to you and I. We were out in pregame, and you line them up against these kids from Old Forge. They're big, but they're not as tall as him. I mean, he's a big kid. 6'5", 310, and he's all of that.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a belly.
Nope.
Not a belly at all.
What are you saying, John? Is that about us? Kowski back, almost intercepted. Mozaleski somehow pulls it down, but he's going to be well short of the first down. Old Forge will be forced to punt.
He falls 2 yards shy of the first down, takes it out to about the 33-yard line. A pickup of 5.
The Blue Devils fake the draw and then throw it out in the flat, and almost picking that thing off was Borger, who sniffed it out a little bit, but then over there to help make the tackle.
Give the Black Knights a lot of credit. That first drive looked very impressive from Old Forge, but they settle down, make a big stop here, and we'll get the ball back. Horn averages 34 yards on these punts this year. This one's low, and we'll take a Old Forge bounce. Palmer picks it up probably a little bit earlier than he should have, but Lake Lehman will have the ball at their own 24-yard line.
Of Lake Lehman, but they will put it in play 1st and 10.
Vigil took it safe on that one, didn't catch it, took a couple extra bounces, and then Old Forge, some of the faithful would have liked a few more, but nonetheless, Lehman in a little better field position than they were on that last drive.
Well, Lehman probably feels like they're playing this one not only for everyone in the Wyoming Valley Conference, who Old Forge has beaten 13 straight times, but everyone in District 2, because Old Forge has a 23-game winning streak against District 2 opponents.
I think the Black Knights just want to get this win. This is a big one. Coach Gilski, I think it's become personal to him to beat a quality team like Old Forge.
Borger, shifty, picks up 3.
That's Trey Borger, number 11. Picks up about
Here you see it again.
Borger gets the carry, but Maz is there. take him down. Have we seen Yuri return since that injury?
Borger on the year had 12 carries coming in for 110 yards. Carry most of the load here early on anyway. We'll look for number 10, but we haven't seen him since he was banged up a little bit. Two guys are moving. Rears the flag. This one will come back. Another flag comes in late. So we'll sort this one out. Under 40 seconds to play. We'll look at it again.
The offense. Take it back. Okay. Five from the previous.
So back up Lehman 5, and will remain second down.
Illegal shift on the offense, 5 yards. Still 2.
I don't think Coach Gilsey's going to make any excuses. It's too many mistakes. You want to be in a big game. You want to play a big game. You got to limit your mistakes. And right now, Lake Lehman's making a few more here, even though it's a tie ball game. They got to be able to step up and make these plays.
Boy, the way we started this, John, I was thinking maybe it's going to be 50-40 or something, but things have definitely settled down here, and the clock's been rolling because both these teams will run the ball. Again, Borger, this line time thrown back by the defense. Dylan Wilcox, 6'3" junior, pops right in.
Now, Wilcox is a load in his own right there on Old Forge up front. 6'3", 295 pounds. You got to block him. And that was right in the bread basket. And a throw down from Wilcox. See you later.
You're watching high school football on my TV, WQNY.
Protocol.
Tonight's Lake Lehman Old Forge football game also available for purchase on DVD or Blu-ray. To place your order, go to myfoxnepa.com.
We are back at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Old Forge. Bob-eyed John Mandola and Amanda Cool. Glad you could join us here. First, a little high school football. We're tied at 7 going into quarter number 2. It will be Lake Lehman ball, 3rd down and 15, and the ball is on the 20-yard line of the Black Knights. Beautiful night for high school football. Another great night in September. We've been very lucky with the weather this year. Little play action. O'Donnell is taken down. Mondo Salavanti in, 4th sack of the year.
Let's see if this looked as good in the replay as it did live. It's O'Donnell rolling out, and watch Mondo. Breaks down, squares up, and Boomski. Throw me down from Mondo Salavanti.
That backs them up to the 10-yard line. Timeout on the field called by the Blue Devils.
Well, Forge had like 7 players on the field. They called timeout.
You need more than that. Well, we were talking about number 10, Nick Uri. Looks like he rang his bell a little bit. He is on the sidelines of the Lake Lehman side. They're looking over him, and he does not look like he's coming in anytime soon. So we'll keep an eye on that. His helmet is off, and doctors are looking at him. So now we have Amanda Cool on the sideline with a special guest from Old Forge. Amanda?
Hey guys, thanks. I'm joined by sophomore twirler Derek Lerner. Derek, what's it like being out here and stealing the show during pregame?
I just love it. It's just a great experience, just doing what I love to do, twirling, and it's just the best thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Tell us how you started. I mean, you were throwing fire out there tonight. How did you learn, and how long ago did you start?
I started 3 years ago by Sherry, and it's from Sherry's Oilettes. I absolutely love what I do, and it's just a lot of practice put into this sport. I practice like from 3 to 4 hours a day, and it's just amazing.
Jarek, do you want to do this on the next level?
Yes, I want to go to college, possibly to do my career and stuff. So it's
Awesome, Jarek. Thank you so much and best of luck. All right, guys, back to you.
Good luck, Derek. And on the field, block punt by Old Forge. Into the end zone, John. It looks like touchdown down.
Yep.
Oh, definitely look at the replay. Multiple angles on this.
I think one of the reasons they called the timeout was to question what they wanted to do with the Heat because they had some good leverage the first time, and Mondo Salavanti getting in to block that thing. And in the end zone, who's it going to be? Somebody's hungry for it. Mondo wanted it, but his buddy got it. So a touchdown for the Old Forge Blue Devils, and we'll see who comes off that pile.
88. Nasir Harris gets the touchdown. Horn gets the extra point, is no good. But Old Forge, off a big block punt, have a 6-point lead in the second quarter.
There's the block by Mondo, and the recovery over there for Harris for the Blue Devils of Old Forge. The Pizza Boys lead by 6.
You're watching high school football on my TV, WQMY.
Thank you, Lake Lehman cheerleaders, and we are back in Old Forge. Big play. We'll take a look at it shortly. Both teams undefeated coming in here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, John. And boy, a very exciting first 13 minutes game clock. And both teams have had their ups and downs, and we've had several big plays already.
Absolutely. You talk to Mike Schuback all the time. You talk to him over the summer, preseason camp. Talk to him during the season. He's always talking about Mondo. Hey, Mondo's doing this. Hey, you should see Mondo. I'll tell you what, he had a couple of hits. Mondo, number 34, is the real deal.
Little squibber off the ground, hits a Lehman player. It's picked up by Borger. And Borger's shifty, can't tackle him, loses the ball. And he gets it back, and a flag comes in. Oh, that had disaster written all over it, excitement all around it. I think I saw a flag come in. I saw something fly. It might have been a towel or something.
Well, I think they threw in the beanbag.
The beanbag, okay.
Yep, when the ball hit the turf.
So Lehman has it, and boy, we'll watch this one again. Yeah. A lot of things going on here.
Absolutely, and sometimes it pays to be short. And Trey Borger right here, he gets lost right here. A couple of guys hit him, kind of falls under the radar, and somebody missed a tackle, but they knocked the ball loose, and you're thinking, uh-oh. Borger, he gets on it, luckily for him.
Earl Tallarico was the guy that knocked the ball out.
Well, maybe you did see a flag.
Maybe I did.
Eagle Eye Bob now.
I didn't see it, and he picked it up, but I thought I saw something fly in there, John, and evidently I did. It's a personal foul against Old Forge, and now Lehman has the ball at the Blue Devil 30-yard line. Big break there for Lake Lehman.
Black Knights don't look like they're going to be much in a passing mode tonight, so Old Forge is going to have to just buckle down and try to stop the run.
There's Jerry Gilski. Borger is going to get a lot of carries tonight with Yuri out. Can't go anywhere on the outside. Gutowski and Horn take him behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Gilski's going to talk to Borger about hold on that football. See what they do here. Borger comes in motion. Nobody blocks Wilcox again. That's not going to help you. You can't let him go. And at the bottom, Armando Salavanti.
Yep. No one can stop Mondo on the field. He's the best player on the field in Old Forge tonight. Little inside handoff to Borger. Yeah, he picks up about 3 yards. Does hit Borger up to the 28-yard line.
A pickup of about 3 yards brings up a 3rd and 8. With
One of the key to the games for Lake Lehman, turnovers. Got to hold on to the football. You know, the special teams, you know, they got the punt block, so that turned into points for the Old Forge Blue Devil. Got to be able to secure the football tonight.
So a big 3rd down from both sides. Under 10 minutes of play in the second quarter. Lehman up quickly. A little late handoff to Vigil, but he makes a big move. Vigil to the end zone. Touchdown, Lehman. Joey Vigil, 27 yards.
This is all Joey Vigil. There's nothing, and slice right there. Joey Vigil takes it to the house and gets away with a little bit of a happy football. And the referee talked to him about it. Listen, let you go on that one. Next one, 15 yards.
So Dawsey in now for the extra point, a very important one that will give Lehman the lead if he can make it. And it is up, and it is good. So Lehman answers Old Forge. 3 plays, a 30-yard drive, and they have a 1-point lead as Vigil takes it in.
This is a Fox 56 sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
The Eagles' season clearly did not start the way Coach Chip Kelly had hoped. This week's game against the Jets is considered by many a must-win, but it won't be easy against the 2-0 Jets. Pregame begins at 11 this Sunday, only on Fox 56.
Well, Dawsey this time kicks it deep. Gutowski took it at his 5. He had room. Good return. Knocked down Filing is on his side of the line of scrimmage. They'll get the ball at their own 33-yard line. So change of strategy there on the kickoff. First couple times they bounced it through. This one, Gutowski took it over the 3.
Huge hole right there. I thought Gutowski was going to come in, and I think he saw out of the corner of his eye number 8 closing in, who ended up making the tackle there for the Lake Lehman Black Knights. But still pretty good field position.
We've had a lot of big plays so far here in Old Forge, and we're only in the second quarter. Now we have a stoppage on the field as well, the kids had to get the tee. Can't forget that. So they get the Lake Lehman tee off. Quick change. Jerry Gilski's team has the 1-point lead. Inside handoff, Mozaleski. Mumbles and bumbles. 14 yards up to the 47.
Mozaleski, 5'10", 200 pounds. He's a beast. He just gets through, holds on to the football, and then finally taken down by the secondary. But Moz gets into that secondary. They better hold on for dear life.
That's been the best play they've had so far. Even on that first drive, they gave it to the fullback a couple times. They give it to the second man through, and they can't go anywhere.
Great penetration there for Lake Lehman. Mason Rios, 5'7", 250-pound junior. Simple read for him. He just gets right upfield and read that immediately and got into the running back.
See if Old Forge wants to come out and maybe throw the ball a little bit more on first down. Two wideouts. Draw. Califano nowhere. And big Connor McGovern pulls him up. Loss of about 2-3 yards. Let's call it 2. Third down on the way.
Well, how do you block Connor McGovern? Let's see what Old Forge was able to do on the previous play here. Connor McGovern, nobody blocked him. They tried to get him. They just couldn't get there. tried to get him with the center, Christian Mitchell, but McGovern beat him to the point, and at that point it's lights out.
Yeah. So shotgun it is for Gutowski. He's going to roll. Has a guy open in the flat, and that is Hobbs, but he'll be short of the first down at the Lehman 45-yard line. A call now for Mike Schuback. Will he go for it on fourth? Fourth and about 3.
I think so. I mean, I think they keep it in Gutowski's hand. You got 3, 4, 5 guys you can put the ball in. Here he is. He delivers. Vigil delivers the blow, but still an open receiver. And a short attempt here on this fourth down.
Let's see what the Blue Devils have in store.
A little confusion by the receivers right now as far as what side they're on.
4 wideouts. Here comes the blitz. They'll roll him out. He has somebody out there in the flat. Hobbs couldn't pull it down. Threw it a little late. And he would have had the first down. Lehman will take over at the 45-yard line.
That's unlike Hobbs. That's one thing that Coach Schuback said. He said he'll catch everything. There's 2 he dropped today. Not real big, simple play. Maybe Gutowski thinking maybe would he try to run it. It ended up, sometimes when it gets into your hands and you're fighting it, he fought it a little bit. So it just wasn't too high, too low. You fight it a little bit.
I thought Gutowski threw it a little bit too late. He had him open earlier, and I think he should have thrown it a little bit earlier. Might have had the first down. So Lehman takes over. They're back to running the ball. Vigil shoots through, but guess who, John?
He is everywhere. Mondo.
We'll check his tackles, I'm sure, at the half, but he's maybe in double digits.
I'll try to block him there, and who gets him? Connor McGovern tried to get into him, but Mondo beat him. It's too fast.
We'll give credit to the defensive line, for holding up the guy that's supposed to block him. He's able to shoot right in. Borger through. Yeah, a couple yards on that. And one of the keys, got to match the line play if you're Old Forge. Defensively, they have.
Try to keep Connor McGovern off those backers if that's possible. It's tough to do as a center. Do you try to shade somebody over to get a piece of McGovern every time to keep him off the backers? We'll see if Old Forge tries that. Then that changes their defense a little bit. And Coach Gilski, I'm sure, will sniff that out a little bit. But, Connor McGovern getting into the linebackers. You can't block both of them. But if McGovern can get into one of them, he's hoping he gets a crease here or there.
Here comes the blitz. Vigil stood up quickly, got a couple of yards, but knocked backwards by Mondo again. Salavanti taking over this game on the defensive side. So Lehman now will punt the ball.
Let's see what the punt coverage is like here.
Harris and Gutowski back, and boy, Dawsey didn't get anything on that. Picks up a roll. Looks like it hit a Lehman player. But they'll mark it down about the 21-yard line, and that's where the Blue Devil offense will come back on the field.
Mazaleski just a little shaken up there. Let's see if a couple pieces of tape and wrap it up a little bit. Lehman's punter is he's less than 10 yards back. You usually get a guy back there 13 yards or so. So it's a little bit of a tight punt. Did that play into effect on that last block? Not sure, but that's something I'm sure the guys up top are looking at. Hey, short set, let's send 10 guys next time.
Let's see what Old Forge, Mike Schuback, makes the calls. The head coach on the offensive side wants to do on first down. Califano has not been able to get anything really going from the tailback position. Little quick pass, knocked in the air, and knocked down as a lot of guys trying to go for it, including big Big Bruker. Big Zach Bruker at 6'5" was in there. He may have batted it down, John.
Well, Zach's a big kid in his own right. I mean, Connor McGovern's a big kid, but Zach Bruker, how about 6'5", 255, not too shabby, huh? You look at both of those guys, see Bruker. That was actually McGovern.
Yep.
But Bruker's on the outside. You see him trying to catch the ball. Need a little bit more wheels there to get to it.
This time Gutowski goes to the shotgun. Let's see which way they're going to go. They're going to go downfield, overthrows Horn. He had him at the 30. There's Mike Schuback. 14th season here already, believe it or not, John.
Boy, time flies.
Unbelievable. One of the most successful programs in Class A in the state the last 4 years or so. Has really built a quality program here in a small town of Old Forge.
Just a program here that reloads year after year.
So 4 wideouts, a little draw play. Califano fights through, but he's going to be short of the first by about a yard or so, past the 30 to the 31.
Oh, Forge is saying, hey, we're going to go for it here, I think. They're thinking about it. I think Coach Schuback, looks like he's throwing in the punt coverage, but for a second, I think he was thinking about it. You see right here, Califano getting upfield, runs through a tackler. That didn't wrap, and then Connor McGovern hustling upfield.
Lehman's defense playing a lot better since that opening series. Now they're looking for the fake. Let's see what Old Forge will do. Horn gets a high one off. It's a huge bounce for Old Forge, and Lehman will have the ball just over the 30. It's called the 31-yard line.
Oh, without Uri, Joey Vihill's going to have a little extra role here. I think they got to get him the ball a little bit more. Maybe kind of go with a different tactic of max blocking and see if you could get a little seam for Joey Vihill to explode through. Borgers had a little bigger role tonight because of Uri's injury. Uri looks like he's up, stretching out over there on the sidelines right now and seeing if he's okay.
Well, Vihill tries to get outside, picks up 3. Good tackle by Gutowski and Califano in there.
Well, Vihill got through that first level once tonight, and it was a touchdown. But since then, really just hasn't been able to get over that first level. Because if he does, he gets to the second and third levels. He makes people miss pretty well.
Yeah, Vihill's touchdown, a big play, and Borger had a big run, about 50 yards on one of their series, and that's really been it on the ground for Lake Lehman here. Coming up on the 3-minute mark in the half, it remains a 1-point lead for the Black Knights. And off Borger, flipped up by Hobbs, yard on the play.
A good job from Hobbs, staying disciplined over there. See the split over on that right side. The guard pulls, blocks the end. Then it's Hobbs. They've always had some good defensive backs that are undersized that know how to just stick their nose in there every year.
So Lake Lehman plays in the Wyoming Valley Conference. A lot of AA teams down there. Kind of small school. I think someone's have a timeout on the field. Well, Forge, of course, plays in the Lackawanna Football Conference Division III. So both teams after this week will head their separate ways in the league play. Timeout on the field. Called by Lake Lehman. And here are the standings in the AA of the WVC, John. And Lehman has Myers next week. They've been very impressive. JR's only loss is to Old Forge. And there you see the rest of the teams.
Northwest, Nanticoke. You know, Hanover's battling Riverside tonight. Redeemer hoping to get a win this weekend against Columbia Montour Votech.
And then on the other side, Division III, Old Forge, the class of the division, as you might expect. Susquehanna, who played Old Forge in the district title game a year ago, lost a lot of players. Carbondale had a nice win early on. And the Holy Cross with a win, I think, last week or so.
Yep, overtime against Susquehanna.
Yeah,
that was
that's
a big
right.
win. 2 overtimes, I think 35-33. So big win for Coach Josh Waters and his program. But, yeah, Old Forge just definitely heads above the rest this year. You know, they want to stay healthy and make sure they're peaking at the right time.
Well, they started out the schedule with all AA teams for a small Class A school. We mentioned them, GAR, Lakeland, Hanover, all, you know, the class of AA. They all could be in the playoffs, all 3 of those teams. Third down, here is Vigil trying to get a sweep around. He's got room, Vigil off, and Vigil's gone. Bracks it down, touchdown Lake Lehman. 65 yards, Joey Vigil.
I mentioned it before, you got to get Joey Vigil, you got to get him moving, you got to get him in some open space. And they get him into the outside. You see the pull over here. Rios gets the block on the outside, and then it is gonzo for Joey Vigil. He takes this thing, and literally nobody's within 15 yards of him.
Officially, it's a 3-play, 69-yard drive. 65 of that by Vigil. Limit the big plays if you're Old Forge. 2 big plays have cost them so far. Here's the kick by Dawsey, and it is up, and it is good. So Lake Lehman extends their lead now to 8 with 1:55 remaining.
And Joey Vigil, student body left, takes this thing to the house.
That's the way the Black Knights do it, and it looks like, again, Old Forge may trail into a second half for the second time this year, John, and they've been in this position before. But Vigil, a big play. He came in with 432 yards. Check at halftime what he has tonight.
Well, Mike Schubeck, not a guy who panics ever. You know, he's always in control over there, and he works his guys hard. And these guys expect to win week in and week out.
Coming up at the half, we'll have the halftime report from our own Aaron Dugan. She'll give us a preview of our next game and what's coming up on my TV on the college level. Amanda will talk to the winning coach going into the half, and then Amanda will have a special interview with the Old Forge Football Alumni Association, who, John, are celebrating 100 years of Old Forge football.
Yeah, saw some shirts with that, so it's nice to see. A lot of pride here, that's for sure.
Dawsey with a nice kick. Harris from about his 7. Has a big gap. Stays on his feet and brings it up past the 41. So one thing we've seen tonight, it's been the kickoffs, John. Whoever gets the kick, they usually get decent field position to begin.
Been a kick returner's night. Watch Harris here getting up. He's crossing. A little bit of wiggling through the middle, and then finally Borger takes him down.
Well, now let's see. Mike Schubeck, I don't think he'll hold back here because Lehman will get the ball to begin the third quarter.
They're play away. I mean,
Yeah.
This type of offense with Kutowski looking up, and they're going to try to press a little bit defensively here.
Well, they couldn't get it by Cole Spencer. Another big lineman for Old Forge to get those paws up.
Yeah, Cole Spencer, nice-sized kid, 6'3", 250 pounds. He is a junior, and Spencer just kind of lurking there in the flat.
Three wideouts. Califano Couple yards, that's about it.
Picks up 2 yards on the play.
This Lehman defense doing a nice job up front. Some no-namers, so to speak, Bob, getting the job done and making some plays. Rosengrantz, they got Rios. Spencer, you haven't heard a whole lot of. Of course, Berger's playing well. Hummel, got Yuri's out tonight, so they have some other guys replacing him.
Big third down. Might not give the ball back, and Gutowski overthrows Hobbs over there. And fourth down on the way. And I think if you're Old Forge, you have to punt here. And Mike Schuback wouldn't want to give the ball back to Lake Lehman, especially after that big play.
Gutowski couldn't really get the ball down on that. Floated on him a little bit and just kind of went into the Lake Lehman coaching staff. Coach Gilski caught that one.
Lehman will have a shot here. Look at the ball, another minute to play. Or was a short kick. And Lehman has good field position at the 33-yard line. Just under a minute left. Boy, we wanted to know if Lake Lehman, how they would respond to being down, because they haven't trailed all year. Played teams that are combined 1-8 coming into tonight. Boy, they have responded well.
Yeah, and I expect the same play with Joey Vigil in motion here on this first play. They may see if they could get a quick one with him and try to keep the ball in his hands and make something happen. Or we'll see that reverse play with Borger. Two big plays that we've seen tonight out of the Old Forge offense.
Out the double wing look, and Veal tried to get in, and Mozaleski reads that well, and Gutowski as well in there. Loss of 2 for the Black Knights.
So they flop positions, yep. Borger and Vigil, and they tried to reverse it over that way to Vigil. Just didn't work, so great job by the linebackers. Maz just sits, and then he beats the blocker over there and stays low to kind of hide in there and make the tackle.
Lehman will have to run one more play. And Vigil stopped quickly by Mondo. Back to the line of scrimmage, but that will do it. That will end the half here at Old Forge's Veterans Memorial Stadium. And it's the visitors from Lake Lehman who will take an 8-point lead into the half as they try to beat Old Forge for the first time in 5 tries. Good first half, John. The big play on the kickoff as Lehman responds to Old Forge.
Yeah, the biggest play from Nick Uri, and that before he got banged up a little bit, and Uri, and then it's Joey Vigil with a cut right there, and he takes it to the house. And then Joey Vigil gets tackled out of bounds. So you see a couple of the plays happening as Old Forge here and Lake Lehman doing a great job.
Amanda now with Jerry Gilski.
Coach, you started out a little slow, but you really got things going in the second quarter. How important is it to you to maintain the running game through the second half?
Well, right now we're up, and the whole key right now is to make sure we maintain clock control. That's always our goal. So we're start the half, we're going to have the ball, we're going to make sure we get a good drive, a sustaining drive, and score with taking away time on the clock. That's very important in the next half.
Coach, what do you have to clean up in the second half to maintain the lead?
Well, it's a tight game, you know what I mean? So you're going to have guys, missing a block here and there because there's 2 very good teams out here right now. So we have to clean up, we have to make sure penalties on top of it. That's just on formations and ball control on top of it. So we had a lot of mistakes there, but we really have to clean up at halftime. It's a great opportunity to do that now.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you in the booth.
Thank you, Amanda. And I know might be leading, but Jerry's still worried about that second half. So Lehman's in to Old Forge, and they lead the Blue Devils by 8. When we come back, we'll hear from Aaron Dugan, and Amanda will have some special guests. We're at the half here.
This is a Fox 56 sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome back. It's 21-13 Lake Lehman. We're here at Old Forge, where Old Forge is celebrating 100 years of football. What an exciting night for you and the Gridiron Club.
Yeah, it's been a great night, Amanda, and a great season so far for the Blue Devils, and we are celebrating our 100th year. It's the 100th anniversary of the first football team in Old Forge, which was 1916. They weren't the Blue Devils yet. That happened in 1935, but in 1916, the Blue Devils were 1-0-1. Beat rival Taylor and tied German, so that was the start of everything, and it's been a great 100 years.
So tell us a little bit more about the Gridiron Club. What is it about? You guys come out here and tailgate before the home games?
It's a little more than that. The Gridiron Club is a collection of alumni that played football here at Old Forge High School, and we range in age from 21 to probably 80 or 85. We had some older members that we get together once a month and kind of exchange stories, and we do some things, raise some funds for the football team here, the little extra things that maybe the booster club or the quarterback club cannot get them or the school cannot provide. So we're a fundraising organization, we're a booster club, we are a social club, so just a bunch of old football guys getting together to tell some stories.
How did this club get started, and how many members do you have?
Well, we have over 200 members right now. We started, this is our third year, so 3 years ago, and it was kind of like a perfect storm. It was the year that we went to the state championship game, and some of the fathers who had kids on the team said, you know, it'd be nice to get together with everybody. It's been talked, we've talked about it for a few years, but we got together 2 years ago to really get everything together, and the response has been tremendous from the alumni, and of course, we're such a proud town and a proud school. It's easy to get people involved.
You know, how has Old Forge remained one of the at the top of their class every year? How have they been there?
You know, I think that's a good question, and I think you really have to live it to really understand it. But it's passed down from generation to generation, and football and sports in general is just such a big part of this town's fabric. And the way kids are brought up, they see older guys, you know, want to play the game and be successful. And I know this class of seniors, as sophomores, when they were at the state championship game, you know, even after the loss there, they enjoyed it so much. They put it in their minds that they were going to do the work over the next 2 years to try to get back to that spot. And that's kind of the attitude that's passed down. And we have 3 or 4 fathers who played here, and now their sons are seniors on this team. And it's just in the fabric of the people of this town.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining us here at halftime. We're going to head back upstairs to Bob and John.
This is a Fox 56 sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
We are back at the half at Old Forge's Veterans Memorial Stadium as Lake Lehman leads 21-13. And John Mendola, it's been a game that I think we kind of expected tonight, and we're back inside the booth here. Old Forge comes out with a couple big plays to start the game. Good response from Lake Lehman. Back and forth they've gone.
Yeah, and Blue Devils took that football in the opening kickoff, and they went right down, did what they wanted to do. Since then, you know, Lake Lehman puts together a big play on a special teams play, and then it's kind of been a back and forth, and right now it gives a little advantage to Lake Lehman at this point.
Here's part of that opening drive. 4 plays, 56 yards, a touchdown by Mozaleski.
Yeah, Mozaleski able to find the end zone, does it on offense, defense, but Mondo Salavanti able to deliver some blows defensively, sacking and a packet block and a punt right there. Harris jumps on that one, and then Horn making a tackle. And this was Lake Lehman stuff, Bob. Yuri, when he was in the game before he got banged up, fakes the reverse on the kick return, and he goes house music all night long as Lake Lehman ties the football game at that point.
The 85-yard on that looked like it might be a poked eye or something for Yuri. Not back in the game, but then V-Hill took over.
Yeah, V-Hill knows that it's a cut in Old Forge, not a slice. As I said earlier, a cut of pizza, and he made that cut there, and then V-Hill around the corner, and then he just explodes. Just great explosion for Joey V-Hill. He's been the difference maker in an 8-point advantage.
Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll give you some stats when we come back. Black Knights over the Blue Devils. We'll be back in a minute.
This is a Fox 56 sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
The home team, Old Forge, back on their field. Believe it or not, it's their first home game of the season. We're 4 weeks in. Waiting the Black Knights from Lake Lehman. They're on the field as well. And we'll give you a couple of quick stats. John, Old Forge has 98 total yards, 43 after they took that opening drive. They have been held in check. In fact, Cooper Califano has 8 carries for just 10 yards. Joey Gutowski, the quarterback, is 5 of 11, 55 yards, does have a touchdown. But boy, Lake Lehman's defense is playing very good football against the Blue Devils team that, comes in averaging 300-plus yards per game.
Well, I'm sure Old Forge will make adjustments. They've had plenty of postseason games. They have a little bit more experience than Lake Lehman overall. Coach Schuback and his staff does a fantastic job, so they'll see what they can do, whether they try to get Gutowski around the corner and see if he can work off the edge or get some of those running backs to make some explosions and maybe take it to the house.
For the Black Knights, Joey Vigil, 9 carries, 102 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Trey Borger, who's been in for Uri, 9 carries, 53 yards. And their line, we talked about matching the line play. I would say offensively, Old Forge's defensive line is not playing up to par of the Lake Lehman offensive line.
Yeah, and it's that close of a game. I mean, we're down by a score, and the guys are going to make plays here and there, but right now, trying to contain Joey Vigil is what the Old Forge defense will do, but they still got to get points on the board, and they're starting the half out on the defensive end.
So Jared Horn tees it up. Squib kick up to an up man. Taken and hit, and Lehman will have the ball at the 40-yard line. That's Matt Myers, the junior, who took that kick. So here comes the offense from Lake Lehman, 155 total yards so far, all of that on the ground. Quarterback Nate O'Donnell had tried, I think, 1 pass in that first half, but it's been big plays. Old Forge Mike Schuback, talking to him the other day, said we got to limit their big plays, and they haven't been able to.
Well, Lake Lehman has pretty much said we're going to run the football. O'Donnell's in, he's a sophomore, doesn't have much experience, so the throws will be very, very limited. For Old Forge, you just have to find a way to stop the run. Do you load the box more? Do you try to blitz more? Things that Lake Lehman was expecting.
Well, Nick Uri got banged up in that first half. Back right into the game. You see that eye patch on him. He got poked in the eye. He's got something on there. And he's right back, makes his presence known up past the 50 to the 48.
Well, the two-headed monster in the backfield right now, as Uri is awfully dangerous. And a tackle from Gutowski, but not until he gets into the secondary. Old Forge at this point has to try to tee off on the run. But again, you got guys that can block there for Lake Lehman as well.
We didn't talk a lot about Uri in the first half because he was out, but he's the second leading rusher on the team coming in. 305 yards and 3 touchdowns on 29 carries overall. 13 on his last pickup. Here comes the run blitz. Borger shoots through the first half into the secondary. Pick up 12 more to the 29.
Coach Gilski, when he gets a guy like Borger, he knows he's not going to be that explosive as far as, speed-wise. He's got a little bit of a burst, but just holding on the football. And that's what he does right there. I mean, he got tackled right on the ball from Horn, but ended up spinning out of it.
2 big holes from that huge offensive line for the Black Knights. Remember, they have never beaten Old Forge. They lost 33-0 a year ago. Impressive drive to open the second half. Vigil can't get by Mozaleski and is finally taken down on the outside by Califano. Well, Amanda Kuhl had a chance to talk to Mike Schuback, and what did he have to say, Amanda?
I talked to Coach right after the half as they were coming back out on the field. He said simply that they need to stop the big plays. He knows they're going to run the ball, and his kids are ready to stop the running game this half. We can also expect to see a few changes and adjustments on special teams this half. Guys?
Thank you, Amanda. Welcome to the broadcast. Aaron Dugan is off tonight. So a loss of a couple yards on that. Second man through is Yuri. Yuri through, shedding tackles. Big gain to the 21-yard line.
Oh, and you watch the film tonight, tomorrow, Monday, Luke Hummel. Watch this chip block right here. Gets the backer, and that explodes Yuri through that secondary as Nick Yuri moving those chains for the Black Knights.
Gutowski just held on, or Yuri might have been in for a Lehman touchdown. Clock keeps ticking, and the yards keep piling up for Lake Lehman. Hummel, the big fullback, big hole. To the 11.
That's number 7, Luke Hummel, from his fullback position.
They'll mark him down officially at the 12.
You hope to stop him, but can you stop him? Here it is. McGovern gets a hat on Maz, and then Gutowski makes the tackle, but not before, again, Lake Lehman first down.
Maz on the Blue Devil 12.
Same play. Couple more yards for Hummel. Wilcox in there on the stop.
Making this initial hit for the Blue Devils. About 3-yard pickup on the play.
This reminds me a lot of those Dunmore teams a couple years when they've gone to the finals, even last year. Just line up, smash mouth football, we're going to run it down your throat.
It's very rare your biggest lineman is the center. I think Coach Gilski toyed with him, moving him to guard, but he just kind of had to move him back over to center.
Yuri through, right side. Touchdown, Black Knights. 8 yards, Nick Yuri, welcome back.
For the Black Knights.
Not many teams will be more physical than Old Forge, even though they're a single-A team all year. Right now, Lake Lehman doing that as the Black Knights, you see them hip to hip, arm to arm, sealing it off and getting into the secondary. Nick Yuri.
Dossie in for the extra point. It is up, and it is good. Gets through, and Lake Lehman extends their lead now 28-13.
Nick Yuri following his offensive line and busted through for the touchdown.
Shot of the grass here at Veterans Memorial Stadium. Lehman goes down 7 plays, 60 yards. Took 3:48 off the clock. They've extended their lead now to 15. Old Forge, this is Harris from his 13. And he'll shoot up to about the 30-yard line. So the Lake Lehman offense putting on a showcase. This is actually on special teams. And Yuri, when he was in the game, 85-yard touchdown off the kickoff.
And Joey Vigil, look at that quickness that he displays, and Vigil kind of becomes a decoy a lot out on offense, and then here he's just lightning quick to take it upfield as well.
They came in with 155 on the ground, at 60 more to that. Now they have a big lead. Can Old Forge overcome it? Blue Devil player on the ground.
And McGovern got a little shaken up over on Lake Lehman's side. Something with his leg, but he's walking.
So we talked about who Lehman has played. Now here's who they will play. Myers next week That's a tough game. The GAR, three tough games in a row, counting tonight for Lake Lehman. Then they have Northwest, Nanticoke, Hanover, and then that big old back mountain brawl there against Dallas.
That thing could go either way. I mean, that's a game I think you're going to see a heck of a football game. Dallas and Lake Lehman. Harrison's a heck of an athlete for Dallas, that's for sure.
So we have an Old Forge Blue Devil still on the ground. It's one of the linemen trying to get a number. We'll take a look at that, and then.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winning number for the 50-50. So you can check your tickets. Let's have a hand for Andrew Bellis, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's number 54, Andrew. That says 53. Michael Cantarella. Cantarella in there. And there's Gutowski trying to fire up his team. Great competitors, Gutowski. Remember him as a sophomore. He played on that team that went to the state finals. He was the cornerback. And he's been playing ever since. Last year he started at quarterback, and he had a nice season, threw for 731 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions a year ago. He can also run the ball fairly well. And he has a couple catches this year. Haven't seen Cariotti in, but he has played quarterback this year. Califano met. Meet a future Nittany Lion. Connor McGovern tackle.
Yeah, McGovern exploded on this right down the line, and then he kind of gets pushed into grabbing Califano. Looks like he got up gingerly again. Something going on with one of his legs. Like he's a little sore. But he's played, I think, every snap. I've seen him just about every special team, offense, defense. I don't know if he comes off the field.
Well, playing fourth quarters, that's something that Lake Lehman hasn't done all year, for the starters anyway. They've been up so big. Gutowski downfield. That's Cariotti to Gutowski, as I just mentioned. So Cariotti steps in as quarterback.
Vigil tweaked his ankle, and he is going off the field. He was trying to cover Gutowski, and his legs got jammed up as Vigil now looks like he's going to be down. So you see the post pattern. He had him open early. Gutowski, that was the first time he played receiver, open and just a little underthrown. Gutowski actually hit his hands. I think he's got to make that catch because it got through Vigil's hands, and Vigil is down.
Looks like he stubbed, like you say, he stubbed his ankle. Didn't look like he twisted it there. Maybe just hit it really hard when he was going up to deflect that pass. And Mike Schuback's team, they've been in this position before this year. This isn't anything new. And this is a good test for them. A good test next week, too, as their arch rival from down the block comes to town, the Vikings of Riverside. Then it's into the Division III schedule, Mid-Valley, Trail, Carbondale, Holy Cross, and they'll wrap up here with Susquehanna.
Well, the big thing for them will be trying to just stay healthy all year long. I mean, their schedule after the first 5 weeks, the second 5 weeks, much lighter. No disrespect to those opponents. Some of those teams may not have a winning record by the end of the year. So, you know, they're young teams working hard, but Old Forge should pretty much take care of that schedule.
So Jared Horn back for another kick. This was a nice high kick, short. And that's the one you pick up, and they grab it at the 44. But again, very good field position for Lake Lehman to start this drive in the second half. Second one. They've already driven 60 yards to open up the third quarter, and they have a 15-point lead. 6:44 left. So Lehman could score here. I think they may seal it here in the third. Old Forge has been non-existent on offense ever since that opening drive.
Not sure we're going to see Vigil back with that ankle injury. He's over there trying to talk to the coaches, I think, a little bit. But I think we'll see a little bit more Nick Urey and maybe that fullback a whole bunch.
Yeah, a little discretion, I think, for Lake Lehman as they push through the fullback Hummel.
You get 3-4 yards every play. You just run the fullback all night if you have to. Save some bodies. You got a guy with an eye, a guy with an ankle. A job up front. Both, hey, Old Forge isn't going to quit. That's for sure. They're gonna give you everything they got, every play they got.
Oh, the Black Knights definitely playing with a chip on their shoulder. Have not beaten Old Forge in 5 tries. In fact, they've been outscored 138-43 through those 5 games, John. So they want to come in here, make a statement. Borger fouls his blocking. Spinning and moving and up to the Old Forge 26-yard line. Big gain for Trey Borger.
Well, here you see the seal from McGovern. Seals the linebacker, gets a couple of blocks. Look at Rios. What a good job from a guy who's like, you know, a couple best linemen down the road, and Rios using one arm on one guy, one arm with the other. Not too shabby for a guy who's 5'9". He's got a buddy next to him who's 6'5", 310 pounds.
Lehman putting on a ground attack. Yuri spinning and good tackle in there by Mondo Salavanti again.
Tell both teams are physically drained here late into the third quarter. Up front defensively for Old Forge, King, Shaquem Rose, Trevor Brown, and Herrera and Canarella. Those guys are getting a workout. Of course, Salavanti and Mazaleski as well.
Since the Black Knights starters have not played most of the second half, they're maybe a little bit fresher at this time of year. And it helps that they have a 15-point lead, too. McGovern, bad snap. Old Forge has it. Mazaleski looks like he might be the guy with it. He does. Turnover for Lake Lehman. Bad snap, Brendan Mazaleski, the sophomore.
Get the ball. So what coach is saying, easier said than done. You know, you're trying to get it. Some guy's foot's there, and your momentum's one way, it's the other. And that ball just literally scooted through. And not what you want when you want to put a team away, but you didn't. Now you think Gutowski, they're going to try to jam them and then cover them over the top.
Cariotti in at quarterback. This is Mazaleski again, but not going anywhere. Great defense by Mason Rios.
You're going to see a lot of respect for Joey Gutowski out here, as he'll get one guy to jam him and the other guy to cover him over the top. That may not be enough for an athlete like Gutowski, who really could make a big play. So you better be sure that your other guy is literally the safety valve.
So Cariotti played most of the night from his position at receiver. Gutowski switches with him, and Cariotti coming in did have 2 touchdown passes, both to Gutowski. Cariotti back. They're going to look over Gutowski. Might be triple teamed. He almost came up with it. Matt Myers there on defense. But Gutowski almost pulled that one in.
Well, they got no jam on Gutowski. You just had 2 guys running with him, and he almost beat both of them. It was the backside cornerback that ends up coming over to help make a play. Hits the turf pretty darn hard. But Gutowski almost made a circus catch there.
So 3rd and long right now is, I think, let's see who comes out as the quarterback. It will be the junior, Cariotti, back into the shotgun. 3 wideouts for the Blue Devils. Comes the rush, trying to set up a middle screen. They have it. Califano breaks the tackle. Califano outside. Califano, big gain into Lehman territory down to the 40-yard line.
Well, you want simple plays if you could, and it was a simple play for Cariotti The little screen, and he literally just threw the biscuit over there. Watch his block from Gutowski coming back. Boom, right there. Helps bring Cooper Califano.
32-yard gain. Devils in business. Califano going nowhere. Hummel shoots in, as does Rosenkrantz. Loss on the play.
Number 88, Chris Rosenkrantz in on the stop for Lake Lehman.
Well, the give over on the right-hand side, but again, linebacker play out of Hummel. Excellent job getting a little bit of help out of there, out of his buddy, who's doing a nice job as well, number 88, and that is Rosenkrantz.
Three wideouts. They tried a fullback, but the middle says no, and that is big Connor McGovern who wraps them up. They keep trying the middle, and they just can't go anywhere.
No, Connor McGovern, anybody going to block him? No. They pull the guard. He just follows them right down the line like you're supposed to, and he's just too quick. Nobody got a hat on him.
3rd and long now on the way for Old Forge. Come out with a 4 wide out look. Carriotti in now, quarterback in the shotgun. Flag comes in as he hard counted. Lehman may have moved. In fact, the whole front 4 moved.
That's such a tool.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense, 5 yards. Still third down.
I'd like to see coaches use it more. Most coaches you talk to on the high school level, I know, we got to make sure our old guys don't jump it. If you rep it and you rep it and you rep it, you're going to get it, and it's an easy 5 yards. Hey, you get a couple of those a game. That could be the difference in the game with a first down, a big play, some type of difference maker.
Could be 4 down territory, excuse me. Into triple coverage again. Carriotti trying to hit Mondo. The tight end goes incomplete, so 4th down coming up.
Gutowski did the out and up. He tried to look off that way to start, and then he tried to fireball it in there in the center of the field, but good coverage from Lake Lehman.
Tomalonius in there, number 6 it looked like, one of the linebackers. He's a junior. So what does Mike Schuback have up his sleeve now? 4 wideouts come out. Lehman rushing 4. Trying to set up something on the right side of Califano, but Black Knights didn't have any of that. Back to the 40, and Lehman takes over on down. Nice job to get the ball back if you're the Black Knights.
Yeah, some good hustle as they tried to look some guys off over there. But nice job of closing in. Again, Hummel in there helping. Rios really playing a big game tonight for Lake Lehman. Again, a guy not even on the radar. Mason Rios, 5'7", 250-pound junior, coming down the line, knocking out the pins.
Right now, it just looks like Lake Lehman has had bigger plays than Old Forge.
Yeah. Yep.
We're talking about the big plays. You're fighting through, barreling for about 7 to the 47.
47-yard line of 7-yard gain on the play.
This third quarter winding down right now. Lake Lehman wants a sustained drive, take time off the clock. That last drive, it resulted in a turnover. You know, not something that you need against a team like Old Forge that just has that ability to get back into any game they play.
Uri stood up. Looks like Wilcox in there. Again, 3rd down on the way.
Dylan Wilcox and Brenda Mojaleski team up for the hit. No gain on the play.
Wilcox just wrestled him down. Boy, I'd like to see Old Forge with wrestling. Wilcox might be pretty good at that. He's had a couple of those takedowns.
Hey, Lake Lehman known for the wrestling, too. So Lehman will have to get one more playoff in the third quarter before it ends. They're not in any hurry, taking their time, trying to run that clock off. Up quickly, and they move. Left tackle moved. It stops the clock and will go against the Black Knights. Well, if there's one thing.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, 5 yards, still third down.
Well, if there's one thing Jerry Gilski's going to complain about tonight, it's going to be penalties.
Yep. Discipline, discipline, discipline. And you rep it, you do it in practice. You got to have it. If you want to go deep into the season, playoffs, districts, possibly states, you got to have some discipline.
Well, the clock winds down after the flag, and after 3, it is Lake Lehman who has a 15-point lead over the home team from Old Forge. So now it's time to check in with Amanda Coolidge. She has some special guests on the Lake Lehman side of the field. Amanda.
You know, when these Lake Lehman cheerleaders aren't here cheering on their Black Knights, they are busy giving back to their community. Girls, you have a big event going on this month. What's going on?
We are holding the 9th annual Cheer for a Cause, which was originally started for a cheer mom who is diagnosed with breast cancer. So we've been holding it annually every year in hopes that we can fundraise money for.
How many teams can you expect to see at the event, and how many girls do you expect to be there?
Probably around 40 teams and quite a bit of girls. I would say around like 600.
Very nice. You know, over the last 9 years, how much money have you raised as a team?
We have raised over $80,000 that goes directly to charity.
What charities does it go to?
This year it is going to the Shriners Children's Hospital and the Oncology Associates of Kingston.
And how can people donate who are watching tonight?
You can write checks out to the Lake Lehman cheerleaders and send it directly to Lake Lehman Junior Senior High School.
Awesome, girls. Well, great job giving back to your community. Guys, what a great thing that these girls are doing in Lake Lehman. Let's head back up to Bob and John.
Absolutely, Amanda. Great cause there by the Lake Lehman cheerleaders. They do something every year for great people, and you know, it's nice to see the students get involved in the community.
Absolutely. When they own it, it's a big part. Usually goes a little further.
Well, Trey Borger, he had almost lost the ball, but he is caught behind the line of scrimmage. It's Mondo Salavanti reading that, actually lost 2 yards now. So it's 4th down for Lehman. They'll be forced to punt. So another opportunity in the 4th quarter for Old Forge.
V-Hill back in, but again, not real crisp right now. That ankle's bothering him a little bit.
Gutowski and Harris back to receive this punt from Dawsey.
Let's see if Old Forge could block another one.
Whoa, how about that? They get a break. It's over Dawsey's head. He finally falls on it inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal for Old Forge at the 8-yard line.
Lake Lehman's going to rep it. They're going to rep it, and they're going to rep it again next week. You can't have it. I mean, that's a huge part of the football game. 28-13. You have a chance to maybe stay there with your defense, and a high snap on this. And now Lake Lehman in trouble. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you're only 10 yards back. You know, or you used to be in 12 or 13 yards back, and an unfortunate situation once again for Lehman. Old Forge needs to capitalize here.
Absolutely. Ball officially at inside the 10, call it the 9. So 1st and goal for the Blue Devils. Down in the 4th, but not out. Califano can't go anywhere. Lehman defense playing out of their minds. Borger shoots in. A loss of 3 on the play.
Another guy quietly having a good night is Borger. He's stepping up, Bob, offensively. Defensively, he's made some plays. Nice job from him.
Let's see where he came from.
Shot through like a bullet. He showed more speed on the defensive end I've seen on the offense. Nice play.
Back into the eye they go. They give it to Califano. He's having a tough time out of that eye. Really good job by Lake Lehman on the pursuit. They're going to call it a fumble. Back to the Black Knights it goes.
Lake Lehman recovers.
A late call. Califano lost it. And someone from the Black Knights came up with it.
Well, one more time. Who you going to see for disruption in the backfield? Rios gets a wrapper, and then Connor McGovern knocks it free. Yes, it's a fumble and recovery for the Lake Lehman Black Knights. One more time, Matt Myers.
Great camera work from our crew tonight. You can see the ball pop right back out, and boy, Old Forge wants to know what they have to do. But they ran twice out of the eye. They have not had any success out of that tonight. And they give it to Califano again. Kind of surprised he didn't go to the air.
Lehman stepping up defensively tonight.
Absolutely. So 10 minutes before Lehman can break the streak that Old Forge has on them, but Horn with a nice tackle.
Yep, from Horn. Again, had the shoulder injury last week. You can tell he's sore, but way to hold on for dear life over there. Yuri tries to bounce it. But Horn just holds on to that one leg and takes him down.
Again, Old Forge has won 13 straight games against the Wyoming Valley Conference, including 5 against this team right here. Hummel through, fires up for a couple yards. Third down on the way for the Black Knights. Time keeps ticking. We're under 10.
Blue picks up about 3 on the play, bringing up a 3rd and 7.
Want to stay smart. Hummel's done a nice job of trying to run the football tonight. Black Knights getting downfield. Lyman.
That was one of our keys. Match the line play if you're Old Forge. You saw right there on that shot how far downfield the offensive linemen were. They were 5 yards down.
Yeah, and again, Lehman didn't get a lot of yards out of the play, but guys are firing out. And again, Old Forge is trying to hang in there right now by bringing some backers.
Yuri following his blockers on the outside, picks up a first down, still on his feet. Didn't go out of bounds. Nick Yuri cuts inside. Nick Yuri, bad eye and all, will go in for a Lehman touchdown. 82 yards, no flags down.
This may be one of those YouTube sensation videos. Let's see what this looks like. I couldn't find him. You see one guy running down the sideline, another guy, but just kind of follow the surge out of Nick Yuri. Like a pirate with that one eye with the other one taped up. Jeepers.
You need some oxygen after that run. Boy, it's been big play after big play for the Black Knights tonight. This time, Nick Yuri somehow gets down the side. I thought he stepped out of bounds. Dossie in, extra point is good. And now Lake Lehman has the big lead. Here, look at it again.
Well, Nick Yuri, once we find him, you see a break in this tackle here, breaks another tackle, little chicken wing over there, cutting back, and then Nick Yuri finds his way through the Fury for the end zone.
We are back in a stunned Old Forge crowd watching their team trail now to Lake Lehman, 35-13, and we're under 9 minutes to play in the game. Harris on the kickoff. Another nice return for Harris up to the 40.
That's number 88, Nasser Harris.
So Lake Lehman has put the big Some brawl breaking out. Should say a little skirmish. Flags all over the place. You don't want to get that. You get thrown out of the next game.
Flags on the play.
So the referee's taking control.
Huh.
We'll sort this
Here
out.
the refs say throw him out. Gotta be disciplined.
Yep. Can't lose your cool in this game. We got Riverside next week coming to town. As I was going to say, here's Marty Boyer, referee.
We got dead ball fouls. Personal foul. Number 83, White. Personal foul. 1 blue. They offset.
Okay. So there you hear it, and here's the kickoff by William Harris.
Harris does a nice job. He's a north and south kind of guy. There's a little bit of elusiveness to him. Gets out right about the 40-yard line. So a nice job from him. He's had that recovery on the punt block earlier.
So Jerry Gilski's team, as I was about to say, in the series, this is the most points that they've ever scored.
Well, they've been an offer.
Yeah.
And that's one thing he said. He said, listen, Old Forge has kicked our tail every single year. I want to beat them. I think we could beat them. But you have to actually go out and do it. And right now his team is laying the wood tonight. But, again, Old Forge has owned this series against Lake Lehman.
Yeah, outscoring them coming in 138-43. Cariotti can't hit Mondo. Goes incomplete. So now if you're Old Forge, I don't think they've trailed like this since maybe 2011, except for when we saw them against South Williamsport last year. But against a District 2 team,
Can't
not in a long
remember.
time.
When was the last time they lost on this field? I can't remember either. It's been a while. They've had a heck of a run.
District championship game against Old Forge. They lost it here 6-0. I was here.
But Old Forge losing on their own field.
Here, yeah. That was, yeah, right. As a home game, yeah. Mazaleski up through, big gain, 14, maybe 13 yards up past the 50 to the 47.
Here you see Maz gets out of that tackle. Tries not to let people get into him. He just keeps running, puts his head down. Hard, physical runner. Tough kid. Coach Schubeck said he's Mr. Everything for us.
Cariotti looking for Mondo over the middle. Tipped and goes incomplete. A lot of white jerseys around that pass. Lucky he wasn't intercepted.
Number 7, Luke Hubble from his linebacker position, drops back and bats it away.
Cariotti looks at his first read. He's got nothing. They double team a couple guys up front. Nice job from the linebacker. Hummel has played some good football tonight for Lake Lehman.
Lake Lehman has looked very impressive coming in. Some would consider them the favorite in District 2 AA. I would say with GAR in that as well. Little pitch to Califano. He has had no running room at all tonight. Brooker and McGovern, and they're behind the line of scrimmage.
I think about halfway through that play, McGovern's kind of like, he's way out there. I've been going all game, and he's right. And he just continued chugging down the line. Here, you watch McGovern here in the screen. Here he is, kind of slowly taking it, but then he gets forced inside. McGovern decides to turn it on and make the tackle.
That was number 6, Jake Tamalonius, the junior, who cut that back inside and made Califano slow down. Gutowski rolling. Chased by Brooker. Knocked down and intercepted. Picked off by Noah Gorski.
Boy, we mentioned a lot of different names tonight for Lake Lehman. And Gutowski just couldn't get any mustard under this one. There's a guy right in his grill as he tries to set up over here. He just couldn't get enough on it. And then nice job by the Black Knights to be in there. And, of course, didn't help that didn't have a good grip on it either.
So just over 7 minutes and change left in this game, and Lake Lehman will break a lot of streaks for Old Forge. Oh, fumble. Hummel got it right back. Boy, Jerry Gilski, I think, may have just left the building if they fumbled the ball.
So many positives going well for Lake Lehman, but those things eat at you, you know, from time to time. And Coach Gilski's one of those guys, you know, every little thing he thinks about, he'll let it go. But, you know, you don't want to be fumbling. You don't want to be working on your punt coverage and your kick return, all that different stuff. But it's all part of the football game. So he'll watch the football game tonight on film, and then he won't sleep a whole lot, and then he'll get at it again tomorrow to prepare for next week.
And next week they have a tough game against Myers and then GAR. And flag comes in on that run. So a little pushing and shoving. Couple flags down. We'll sort it out on the field. This is where, you know, we mentioned the discipline, John.
Well, Yuri with the football. He looks like he gets turned around and could get face masked. And then a couple of guys, you know, not stuff you want to be doing, guys. That gets you kicked out. Hey, the referees are going to call it the way they see it. You get kicked out, you can't be making bonehead plays. Both coaches will tell their guys.
So they're going to sort this one out. Our referee tonight, Marty Boyer. I thought they did a nice job of referees tonight.
Yeah, we've seen Marty before a few games. He's done a couple for us.
Joey Gutowski trying to voice his opinion in there for Old Forge.
We got 3 fouls on the play. We got a hold on the offense. We got a dead ball personal foul on the offense. We got a dead ball personal foul on the offense.
So 2 against Lehman, all 3 against Lehman. That's surprising. So they'll mark all of them off, I believe, right?
If they get a first down, jeepers, that's a heck of a penalty.
Well, the ball goes back on the penalties to the 10. They have to get a first down at the 41, John. So I'm no mathematician. That's second down. Second and 32.
Second down and 32 trays of Ravello's pizza.
I want to thank Ravello's and the owner, Pat Ravello, for sponsoring tonight's game. We also enjoyed their pizza beforehand. I think Lehman's going to run, John. They're not worried about getting a first down. Just don't fumble the ball. They're taking the clock down to under 5. They'll give it a Borger on the reverse, and Salavante has read that all night long. The defense has definitely been schooled on the wing. They'll lose 5 yards.
Coach Gilski may want to take a safety and just start over. You know, I mean, because you still got to punt it out of there possibly. And you got 5:30 on the clock. So a nice fake up front. Borger gets it. Gutowski finishing that tackle. Nice defense over there from Joey. Not something you hear every day, 3rd and 37, huh?
Watch out for Yuri. He can get through. He's got some blockers downfield. Somehow Gutowski gets behind him. He pulls him down, and he gets close, and he's got a first down, John.
I think I've seen it all. I'm over here wanting to take a safety, and they run for a first down. What am I thinking?
Troy Harris also got to him, but Nick Yuri, banged up eye and everything, gets up to the 47.
We saw what Yuri did earlier, and here he goes again. He's trying to get a little help from his buddy Rios downfield and just kind of riding him the whole way down.
That was Traver 279, I think, John.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Rios again. Traver's not
He was trying
shabby.
to keep up with him, yeah.
Whew.
Good thing you didn't make a bet on that, John. You'd be owing me a pizza or something. A couple movements up front, no flag. Quickly up the middle, Hummel. Boy, that's deflating if you're Old Forge. Under 5 to play. But that was that's what Lake Lehman does. It's their MO.
Yep.
They'll wear you down, Next thing, big play. Bang. Well, these two teams definitely the favorite in their classes coming in.
I'll tell you what, though. Lehman's going to be licking their wounds a little bit. I mean, a couple guys. You got Hummel now, banged up a little bit in the backfield. He's sore. They're going to have an official's timeout on that. You got V-Hill banged up. You got Yuri with the eye, although we haven't seen the down effects of Yuri with the eye right now, the way he's running the football. But Old Forge let him know we played.
Well, we need a couple players of the game. Brought to you by Northwoods Nissan. And it's going to be tough. There's a lot of guys. I mean, V-Hill. You could pick McGovern.
I think
you could pick
McGovern.
You could pick Yuri. I mean,
sure.
We'll talk that over. But first, we'll send it down to Amanda, who's going to talk about tonight's sports show. What do you have?
On this week's Fox 56 Sports Show, driven by Toyota, we're heading to Scranton and Marywood, where 2 basketball coaches are settling into their new roles. We're also talking with Wyoming area volleyball coach Nick Diaco. Aaron's checking in with some local riders that are preparing to head to a state horse riding competition in Harrisburg. We meet Hanover area wide receiver in this week's Who Is. That's Brandon Chafin. And our featured cheerleaders are from Valley View. It's a really fun show this week. Make sure you tune in tonight and every Friday, at 11 on Fox 56. All right, guys, back to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Amanda Cool. Nice job tonight. We'll talk to her in the post-game show. So, John, we had to whittle down our number, I'm being told. We have about 5 guys, maybe 6 for Lake Lehman.
Yuri's got to be one. I mean, the runs he's made plus that first down.
I just want to see what his eye looks like.
Yeah. Oh, jeepers. Poor kid. I think McGovern, he's done.
Yeah.
He's been a stud.
Yeah. I mean, he's been a difference tonight. I mean, up front, especially on the defensive side.
Scranton, slight shocker against Scranton Prep tonight, 14-13 in a win. I thought that'd be a real close game. Scranton's pretty good. They're a pretty good football team.
I saw Prep. They look pretty good. We'll have Scranton Prep next week against North Pocono. Both teams coming off a loss. It's a big game. Hey, here's Yuri. One eye and all. Nick Yuri looking for another touchdown. Has it. 50 yards. Lake Lehman's in.
Taking that ball all the way from the 50. Out runs the secondary. Touchdown, Nick Yuri.
V-Hill in the first half. Yuri in the second half. I don't think anyone would have said this will be the score at the end of this one, John.
No way. No way. Would have thought Lake Lehman in a romper room right now, but that's where we're at. I mean, Nick Yuri, explosion time. He burst onto the scene last year with an injured Joey V-Hill, and he has really shown his skill set tonight.
Really, it's been the whole offensive line have given the holes to these 2 running backs, all 3 of them. And there's another one, John. Downfield is their tight end.
And the ability to finish from Yuri, he's got a guy right in his hip pocket about a yard away, and he just explodes through and finishes at about 8 yards away from that guy. So Nick Yuri with another gear right there, able to get the job done.
So Lake Lehman came in over 300 yards on the ground, and they've passed that tonight. So coming up on my TV, we have some little college football, ACC, tomorrow at noon as Indiana from the Big Ten takes on Wake Forest. Our next high school football game is a special Thursday night one. Just talked about North Pocono and Scranton Prep. And then on Tuesday, October 6th, we have special college men's soccer as Summit University, formerly Baptist Bible, takes on Keystone College. Kickoff for that is 7 p.m. So North Pocono Prep next week. Division I matchup. Right now, both coming off a loss. North Pocono last night to West. Scranton Prep, as you mentioned, losing tonight to Scranton.
And Scranton Prep's a very good football team, but Scranton, after that week 1 loss to Dallas, they got weapons all over the place. I like their running back. I like their quarterback. They got some good bookends. And Marichak and the other guy at the tight end position. So they got some guys that can do the job defensively.
And we talked about the parity in Division I when we saw Valley View, and they're another team right in the mix. I mean, right now, Scranton's starting out class, everybody, I think, so far in the field, but they still have a lot of tough games coming up, including the Battle of the Bell against West, and they still have to play Valley View as well. So a lot going on as teams get in the division play down in the Wyoming Valley Conference and in the Lackawanna Football Conference. And John, in a month from now, we'll be talking about playoffs, believe it or not.
Yeah, season flies, fastest time of the year. When you cover high school football, you just kind of, you see light flash go through.
Califano can't get anything going tonight, and there's Connor McGovern again.
What a clock puncher McGovern is. I mean, he doesn't take too many plays off. I mean, even when he's cruising a little bit, he's still making a play. Fights through the block and then just gets his big old 6'5.5" arm out there to make the tackle.
So Cariotti under center now. Califano nowhere again. I mean, Mike Schuback knew this would be the toughest team up front they may see all year. I mean, with their size across the defensive, offensive line, he knew it was going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I know they felt confident still coming in, but I think Lake Lehman has kind of flexed the muscle and had too much tonight. Just a little too much, and I think Nick Urey stepped up to show he's really the best athlete on the field. I was thinking coming in it was Gutowski. He just didn't have enough tonight. He's still a heck of a football player, but Nick Urey proved his worth tonight.
Gutowski broke up that one as it was almost picked off down there.
Connor McGovern, though, what an athlete he is, because he can take on 2-3 guys a lot of times and do a job either offensively or defensively. This is just a heave-ho deep. Good opportunity to try to get back to the ball, Joey Gutowski, but just not able to reel it in.
So under 2 minutes here, it looks like Lake Lehman will break that 0-for-5 streak they had going against the Blue Devils, and they do it on Old Forge's first home game of the year. So Lake Lehman comes back out. Kuski with the ball, the junior, and this should do it, John. Couple knees here, or couple handoffs, and Old Forge will drop to 3-1 on the year. Lehman goes into Myers next week at 4-0. GAR after that. Boy, 2 great games. Black Knights will call a timeout, of course. Probably going to sit some of their starters. But that GAR, I mean, Myers, what do you think? Myers and Lehman and GAR Lehman? Boy, 2 great games.
Well, I think Myers is going to be a little overmatched against Lake Lehman because up front they just can't match up. I don't know how many teams could match up against Lake Lehman. Myers was in a struggle tonight with Lackawanna Trail. GAR right now is in a struggle with Northwest. They're tied up. So, again, GAR has some dynamic athletes as well as Myers, but just right now I think nobody's hanging with Lehman. You get to week 10 against Dallas, you may see something. Hanover, kind of been up and down the first few weeks of the season, possibly. But Lake Lehman right now just kind of looks like they're a different level out of the teams they're going to see along the way, especially in AA ranks of District 2.
Yeah, and on the other side, Old Forge, definitely the overwhelming favorite in District 2 Class A this year.
They are going to recover any injuries, their health. They're going to fine-tune that machine for the next, 5 weeks of the season here, 6 weeks of the season, and they'll be ready to go.
They'll be in a battle with Riverside. I mean, Riverside's a good team.
Yeah.
Despite their record, well, they might be come into 2-2 if they could win on Friday night. Matt Ben, a sophomore running back, I believe, number 28, had the ball. So a couple of second string JVers in for Lake Lehman as they put up 42 points on this Old Forge team. The most of the season by any team, as GAR put up 32 first week. Jerry Gilski's team on a roll. They're going to dump it on him. They got him soaking wet. It'll be a long ride home. I think that's how important this game was. I mean, Old Forge has a reputation. I mean, they're a very good football team.
That's number 28. Matt Bent running the ball for Lake Lehman. He slips down on the 40-yard line.
So the first time in about
bringing up a 3rd and 5.
4 years, Old Forge will lose a game in District 2. And for the first time in 14 tries, Lake Lehman knocks off Old Forge. Old Forge had a 13-game winning streak against the Valley coming into tonight. And that will do it.
And as the ball game comes to an end, congratulations.
Black Knights remain undefeated. They pull off a big win in Old Forge. The final score, 42-13. When we come back, it's the Northwoods Nissan post-game show, and we'll talk to the winning coach and players.
This is a Fox 56 Sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome back. I am joined by the Lake Lehman coach, Coach Gilski, as well as the Northwood Nissan players of the game. Coach, you stuck to your game plan in the second half. You know, you ran the clock down, you were able to run the ball. How did you do that?
It's team effort. You know what I mean? I'm not taking credit. The kids came to play. We put them in position to be successful, and they really stood out from every position on the field. I'm very proud of Lake Lehman tonight.
You know, coming off an impressive win tonight, how do you prepare for the big game against Myers next week and keep these kids focused?
Every game's a big game to us. You know what I mean? You got to take every team for granted. You know what I mean? You have to be ready. You have to practice well. You have to condition ourselves. And you really have to be ready for every game like it's a championship game.
Is this a good indication of what we can expect to see from the Black Knights this season?
Absolutely. You know, we come to play every week. Every Monday they come in, watch film, they lift, and they work their rear off, especially with conditioning and everything. You know, I'm very proud of our boys.
Coach, congratulations. Great win.
Thank you.
All right, our Northwoods Nissan's player of the game. Great job tonight. You were running that ball. You know, talk about the total team effort. What can you say about the performance? The line was really there for you.
Yeah, as always, our line does a great job at what they do, always opening up their holes. Really great, you know. I got a rest for the first half because of this little eye injury, but the second half I got to see, and it seemed like the line just started the game, firing off the ball.
You know, Connor, you were right there for him. A great job by your whole team. You know, what can you say that are the keys to a successful season that you guys are having so far? You're still 4-0.
Yeah, definitely the physicality and the speed. Once we just get that little hole open for Nick and Joey and the rest of the backs, they're just gone. Then the game over once we just start pounding the ball down the throat.
All right, guys, great job. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's head up to the booth to Bob and John.
Thank you, Amanda, and we are back inside the booth. John, 220 yards. Nick Urey, all in the second half, doing it with one eye, essentially.
What a stud. I mean, what a player. He goes out there and does it the way he looks, and he'll have a big shiner go. He's got one now, but even tomorrow be a little worse. But a heck of a job from Nick Urey. Very, very impressed with what he could do. And you got Joey Vigil. When he gets healthy from that ankle injury, things will be okay with him, too.
I think you could say Connor McGovern anchors probably the best line in District 2.
Very impressed with Connor McGovern here as his senior year. He did it on the defensive end. He was a heck of a player on the offensive end, sealing off those linebackers. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He could do it all, and he's very, very smart, too.
Yeah, if you're a District 2 Class AA, watch out. Lake Lehman's coming your way. It's going to be tough the rest of the way, even though they have Myers and GAR. On the flip side, Old Forge, you know, something to build on. you got something to talk about now in film. You can learn a lot from this game.
I think so. I mean, they still got players all over the place. The linebackers, some big linemen. They got some big play guys. Old Forge will recover. They'll still be a force in single A for districts and possibly into the state playoffs.
Okay. Well, next week is a special Thursday game. We talked about it. North Pocono, who lost. Scranton Prep, who lost. So both teams are coming in at 3-1. That should be a real good game. That will be next Thursday at 7 right here on my TV. And, who knows what happened in that game.
We'll look forward to it. I mean, North Pocono has a challenge. I think they'll come in as the underdog against Scranton Prep and Nick Donato. But, hey, once you get beat, sometimes things change a little bit. We'll see what the mindset is of Scranton Prep next week. And North Pocono has an extra day to prepare and be ready for next Thursday's affair.
So a big win here tonight by the Black Knights. The final score, once again, Lake Lehman wins it 42-13. For the entire Fox 56 sports crew, for Amanda Cool, for John Mendola, this is Bob Ide saying so long. We'll see you Thursday at Scranton Memorial Stadium.
This is a Fox 56 sports presentation of high school football on MyTV WQMY.